I guess the end of 2025 was meant to be for the coolest collaborations you could imagine. Today, we look at the J by Thorpy FX and Lazy J. What is up, YouTube? My name is Buddy Blues, and look at it. Adrian and Jesse Adrian from Thorpy FX and Jesse from Lazy J got together and decided to put one of Jesse's amps, his company's called Lazy J. I'm sure you've heard of it, and if you haven't, we're going to talk about it a little bit. They decided to take the J20, which is his Tweed recreation, a vintage Tweed amp, and they decided to put it in a Thorpy pedal. Right off the bat, this is Tweed royalty. This is amp in a box royalty, and at the end of the day, it's a Thorpy pedal. So you know it's going to sound great. You know it's built like a tank, and you know he's using the best components. What you may not know is how cool the Lazy J thing is. Jesse is an amp builder, and his company, like we said, is called Lazy J. And he is one of those he has a cult following. He obviously, he's not a Fender, he's not a Vox, he's not a Marshall, he's not that otherworldly well known, right? But for the people that do know him, almost anybody that owns a Lazy J, the progression of that customer, the progression of a Lazy J client is have several amps, buy a Lazy J, start selling said amps, collect Lazy Js. It tends to happen quite a bit. His amps are of the highest quality. They're not cheap. You're not getting a cheap product. They're of the highest quality and they are good. Goodness. If you can find the video on YouTube, I encourage you to listen to his amps. So where does Thorpy come into all of this? A, he's a huge fan. B, he really wanted to recreate the sound of that amp because he loved it and he loves the Tweed thing. And quick side note here. Look, the new printing of Thorpy Effect pedals is just way too cool. This looks like, you know, the inside of the amp with the caps and filters and blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, let's see what we've got. We've got a little bit too much going on here. It's fine. You'll get it. It's very simple. And we have 2 foot switches. So top, output, master volume. Cool. Response, think of it as a presence knob. Supply, think of it as a voltage sag. Okay, so if we go all the way down, it's going to be very saggy, quite literally. You have 2 foot switches. This turns the pedal on and off. This switches between the channels. There are 2 channels. What are they? Hey, pay attention. Normal and bright. So you have a normal switch, a normal pot, and a bright pot, knob, whatever. What those do are essentially volume and gain of that respective channel. Tone is overall tone, dark or bright. Coolest thing, right here, it says X and Y. This little switch in the middle that says X and Y. You see it? X gives you a 12. X gives you a 12AX7 sound, a little bit medium gain, a little bit more gain. Y gives you a 12AY7 sound, a little bit less gain. You can tame the heck out of it. I find that on X, you can get the, you know, the fizzy not broken up, it's even like falling apart type Tweed stuff. And on Y, you really get the very, like, you get crunch, but you get more direct crunch, if that makes sense. More loud crunch rather than a falling apart signal, which both are cool. And it's the most common mod on these Tweed amps. A lot of people would just switch out tubes sometimes in the middle of the gig. We're gonna sit here and talk all day? Sure. What do you say? I'm gonna play my red LSL Tabasco. We call it Tabasco. It's a Saticoy. A little bit of a surprise at the end of the year when it comes to that guitar, but don't say I said anything. I'm gonna play the Milkman Tres Leche. I still have it for a few days. Might as well use it. Let's get to it. Auxbox, let's get to it. Oh! It's pushed in it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have now heard DJ by Thorpy and Lazy J. This thing is as good as baked beans. Technology has gotten to a place when it comes to this stuff, this technology. I'm not talking about AI right now and Tesla Cybertrucks. Technology has gotten to a place where we're able to emulate. We've always been able to emulate. The whole amp in a box thing isn't new. David Gilmour has been using it since the 80s. The whole amp, the rack units and the fractal this and that's the sound has always been there. It's been there since the dawn of pedals. It's been there since the late 70s, early 80s. People were doing that. That's always been a thing when it comes to that digital stuff. Now, today, what we're able to do with stuff like this is emulate the feel of it. Did it not feel when I rolled the volume down? Did it not react like an amp would when I had the gain very much up and rolled the gain down, or picked harder? So rolled the volume down, I'm sorry, or picked harder. Did it not react like an amp? We're nailing the sound's always been there. The sound's remarkable. The sound has always been there. The feel never has. I think they've done it here. Do you like a bowl of beans in it? Did I eat beans in a bowl? Remarkable stuff, man. Thorpy's been killing it since the day I met Adrian. Not in person. I can't wait to meet him in person. But anyway, since we started working with each other, he's been killing it time and time and time again. The Dane is absolutely my favorite overdrive of all time. The Dane and the Grill High Speed, all my favorite overdrives of all time. It's just been killing it time and time again. This collaboration took me by surprise. Usually we learn about these things about like 2-3 weeks before the thing comes out, right? Sorry, I had to poke my eye in the middle of the sentence. So I've had this for a while. I've been playing it for a while and it keeps surprising me. And the collaboration also surprises me, but very pleasantly. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. Consider liking, consider sharing, and consider subscribing if you truly loved this video. If you didn't like this video, ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before, go to the UK, find the nearest constable. They have sticks there and stuff like that. Steal his stick, run with it a little bit, tell him you ride in it, and then tell him that you're a friend of Adrian Thorpe and that you didn't like the video that Buddy Blues did, and book yourself into Scotland Yard. I have been Buddy Blues. You have been the people of the blues. Until next time. Thank you so much for watching.